Hey folks, Cam Rogers coming at you alongside Tom Downey. We are recapping the first round that was in the 2018 NFL Draft. Tom, deep breath. What do you think?
Started great, and then it just went totally off the rails. It was not a good end to the first round this year. A lot of questionable picks, and we'll break all those down as well.
Of course, we'll have our grades for each selection, and of course, we got to start things off with the Cleveland Browns selecting number 1 overall. They went out and got their guy in Baker Mayfield, quarterback out of Oklahoma.
I like this pick a lot, actually. I'm a big fan of going Baker Mayfield. He was my number 1 overall quarterback in this year's draft class. So to take him at number 1 overall, I thought it was a good selection. I like what the Browns did. I know that maybe some guys wanted Sam Darnold, some wanted Josh Darnold instead. I think getting Baker Mayfield at number 1 overall, that was the correct selection for the Cleveland Browns. They did a great job to get him locked in at number 1. That is an A grade for me.
All right, so the Cleveland Browns get their quarterback in Baker Mayfield. Of course, they would be selecting a number 4 overall as well. If you had to give a grade on that, how do you feel?
Denzel, I wasn't quite as sold on. I thought it was an okay pick, but I didn't necessarily love it either. I thought it was an okay selection there. So they solidify the cornerback need. They take care of the quarterback need first and foremost. It's an A on Baker Mayfield. Denzel Ward I wasn't quite as impressed on, but it wasn't terrible by any means either.
Yeah, we'll get to Denzel. I'll give an A on Cleveland as well. I like what they did there. I said that Baker Mayfield was the most polished quarterback in the draft, so I have to give an A on that one. How about the New York Giants? They did not trade back. They sat there at number 2 and got their guy in Saquon Barkley. I'm giving this a B+ because I think Gettleman got the generational running back that he was looking for here, and I think he will be in that backfield for many, many years to come.
He will be, but it's a halfback. You had bigger needs if you're the Giants. You needed a franchise quarterback. Darnold, Rosen were both there. I would have even preferred Quentin Nelson or Bradley Chubb. Cool, you got Barkley. The Giants' offensive line is not very good. He is a very talented player, number 3 overall on my big board, but I do not value halfbacks that much. And at number 2 overall with a better guy on the board than Nelson, even Chubb as well, and quarterbacks there, it's not the pick I would have made. I'm not a big fan, even though I love the player. He's going to have a great NFL career.
The New York Jets selected at number 3 overall, and they got their quarterback in Sam Darnold. And perhaps, Tom, GM Mike McGagan probably didn't even expect that scenario that Darnold would fall.
I think they were going to take Baker at 3, but then he went number 1. So they took Sam Darnold instead. I don't love Sam Darnold. I like him quite a bit. I think he's a talented quarterback. The upside is there. I had a round 2 grade on him, but if you think he's your franchise guy, take him at number 3. It wasn't an outlandish reach. Quarterbacks go early. He's better than Josh Allen. It's a good, not great pick for me.
Yeah, it's a good selection there. I'm giving it a B+. I think Rosen probably would have been the better fit for that system, but you're splitting hairs a little bit there. So we'll see what happens with the Jets as they have a full depth chart now with Josh McCown, Teddy Bridgewater, and Sam Darnold there at quarterback.
Yes, they do.
Let's go back to the Browns here. You mentioned a little bit about Denzel Ward, but Bradley Chubb's there. You could have paired him up with Myles Garrett at edge rusher, and you go Denzel Ward. That's why I'm giving it a C-. You were a little nicer, though, Tom. You gave it a C+ there with Denzel Ward.
I like Denzel Ward. I think he's a talented player. He does fill a need. They take care of that cornerback need, not the halfback need. That's where the check mark should be on cornerback, not RB. Our mistake there, folks. I am okay with it. I don't love it. I would have preferred Bradley Chubb, but it's not a bad pick either. They did an okay job. Getting Baker Mayfield was the big success there. It was a solid night for the Browns at number 4 overall and number 1 overall.
It didn't take long for Bradley Chubb to be selected in this draft here. The Denver Broncos got him, edge rusher out of NC State. So it's Von Miller and Bradley Chubb on that defense for Denver. And, of course, a pretty good secondary as well, despite losing Aqib Talib. They still have Chris Harris Jr. They still have Darby as well. So pretty solid core for the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, I think that's a fun spot there, getting an edge rusher in Bradley Chubb. It really wasn't a need for the Denver Broncos, and that's why it's only a B grade for me. The talent is definitely there, but I think the Broncos might do something else now at the edge rusher spot. I'm excited to see what ends up happening there for the Denver Broncos.
A- grade from yours truly, by the way, talking about...
Talent's there. I'm okay with it.
Yes. Bradley Roby there in the secondary for Denver, by the way, not Darby. He's with the Eagles. All right, let's go to the Indianapolis Colts. They got Quentin Nelson there. Offensive line was a concern. We thought maybe they'd get Andrew Norwell, but they built via the draft instead. Love this.
We're in agreement. The best player on my board this year, fills a big need, checks off both boxes, value and need. That's an A grade right there for me. Easy pick.
Okay, there you go with the Indianapolis Colts at number 6. How about the Buffalo Bills moving on up? And they got Josh Allen.
Oh, you gave him a C?
I gave him a C because I think he's the best quarterback for the Bills to play in Buffalo.
I think the weather aspect is always wildly overrated here.
F grade.
I don't trust Josh Allen. You think he's suddenly going to be a 60% completion guy, which you need to be in the NFL to survive unless you're a great runner like a Cam Newton, for example? Hasn't done that since high school. And, in fact, didn't even do it in high school. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he's a great player. I just have a whole lot of doubts about this one here. I don't think it's a good pick. I think Allen's going to be a big bust.
All right, we'll see what happens there with Josh Allen. I have higher expectations. I do think he has a very low floor, though, Tom, so we'll see what goes on there.
The ceiling is best quarterback to come along the draft since Luck, maybe even better than Andrew Luck. The floor is Ryan Leaf.
Yeah. So
it's bad.
Stay
or maybe
tuned on that.
Hackenberg doesn't even play.
Hopefully he makes better Twitter decisions as well. Let's go to the Chicago Bears. They selected a very nice linebacker in Roquan Smith out of Georgia. Really nice fit there for Vic Fangio.
It's a good fit. I don't think it's an earth-shattering pick. Again, I am meaner on my draft grades. A B means you did a good job. A means you did a great job. This is a good job pick. If you want to give it an A, Cam, you're nicer than me.
That's
okay.
nicer.
The Bears did good tonight. Don't take it as an insult.
I really do like Roquan Smith as well, so a nice selection there for Chicago. Meanwhile, for San Francisco, you could have made the argument that they would go linebacker as well. They did not do that. They actually went with a tackle in Mike McGlinchey out of Notre Dame. Very interesting selection here.
And Rosen went 10, Minka 11, Vita Vea at number 12. We'll start with number 9. I am a little confused by it as we sit right now with McGlinchey number 9 to the Niners because where do you play him year one? Are you going to trade away Staley or Brown? You had a need at linebacker. Yep. You had a need at corner, at safety, whatever, a bunch of needs there. OT was more of a long-term need. I don't love McGlinchey either. I have real concerns about him going up against speed. I don't hate the pick necessarily, but I do have some concerns about it in the end. That's just where I sit with McGlinchey.
Well, there could be the prospects that maybe McGlinchey is the future right tackle there for San Francisco. Maybe he's not a plug-and-play guy just yet, but we'll see what happens there. Niners go with McGlinchey at number 9 overall, leaving Tremaine Edmunds on the board. And we thought, well, maybe the Oakland Raiders selecting at number 10 would have gotten Tremaine Edmunds.
But they
obviously
didn't.
A need at linebacker. They did not. They traded back. The Arizona Cardinals come in, and they draft their quarterback, Josh Rosen.
Great pick. I love Josh Rosen. Was the top 8 guy for me this year, the number 2 quarterback on the big board. You get him. You don't give up all that much really to go up and get him. I think he's better than Sam Bradford because Bradford's never healthy. I think you'll see Rosen in year one. If he stays healthy, he is a franchise quarterback. Good job, Arizona.
Yep, A- grade from yours truly as well. I think it was a really nice selection there. So Rosen headed to Arizona to compete with Sam Bradford and Mike Glennon. Meanwhile, for Miami here at number 11, getting Minkah Fitzpatrick. You want to talk about value. A lot of people had him in the upper mid-tier somewhat of that first 10. So not bad.
I thought he could have gone top 8, top 7 even.
Yeah.
I like him at 11. I don't know about the need. I didn't think they really needed another safety or corner. Now they can find a role for him, and they will find a role for him, but I could have gone linebacker. I don't hate it. It's just a B for me. It's good, not great.
Yeah, give it a B as well. We'll see what happens there. Maybe he plays slot, but Bobby McCain was okay, so I'm thinking maybe outside corner they try him out.
We'll see what happens there. I'm very, very curious to see what goes down.
All right, and we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers there at number 12 with that trade with the Buffalo Bills. And they go out and get Vita Vea.
I didn't think they needed another defensive lineman, but I love Vita Vea. So, of course, I'm going to give them at least a B pick here. He was a top 7 guy for me. I love him. He's a 3-down nose guard. You never find those guys. I think the Bucs had a good player. Maybe not the biggest need, but I think you could see some more 3-4 looks this year for Tampa Bay. Just keep an eye out for that as a possibility.
All right, there you go. Vita Vea, a member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The next slate of 4 picks here, Daron Payne to the Redskins, Davenport to the Saints, Colton Miller there to the Raiders, Tremaine Edmunds to the Buffalo Bills. So for the Washington Redskins, big-time need on that defensive interior. Ziggy Hood was not very good a year ago. Daron Payne.
They filled it. They wanted Vita Vea. I think it's a bit of a reach for Payne. I had a round 2 grade on him, but he fills the role. He fills a need there. I'm not going to give a negative grade to the Redskins, but I'll give him a B-. A good, not great selection, though.
A very good run stuffer. We'll see how he does for Washington. They really struggled in that regard a year ago. The Saints now, so they traded up to number 14 with the Green Bay Packers, and they get this guy, Marcus Davenport. Tom, D- from you. I think it's a failing grade.
I mean, I get that he's going to be a good player for them. That's why it's not a failing grade, I guess. But I hate giving up a first-round pick for an edge rusher in Davenport. If it was Landry, I guess I could have lived with it. If it was Jackson, I would have been okay with it. But you're not going to get your quarterback next year now. When are you going to get your future behind Drew Brees? I know you're trying to win right now. I don't love Davenport that much. I thought it was definitely a reach. I think going up, getting him, and adding in reality 2 first-round picks for one player, and that's what I had as number 32 overall, when you could have Landry and stayed pat, I just don't like it.
I think they traded up for bad value, and that is always a disaster,
totally
at least
agree.
in my eyes. So there you
go.
go.
You are meaner than me. Go figure.
Marcus Davenport headed to the Saints. Meanwhile, for the Oakland Raiders, they addressed the tackle position, getting Colton Miller. I did not envision Miller as a top 15 pick.
Yeah, I might be too high on this Raiders pick, actually. It fills a need, and I know that they like Colton Miller. They get a little bit of a bump because they did trade down, and that saves them a little bit. Then they flipped that later, or one of those third-round picks for Martavis Bryant. So, interesting draft so far for the Raiders. We'll see what else John Green has up his sleeves. Again, I am not a big fan of Colton Miller. Good athlete, big guy. I did not see great stuff on film, though.
The Buffalo Bills check in at number 16, and
much better.
They got a pretty good linebacker, didn't they?
Same grade there. I can be talked into an A- there. He's not great as a football player right now, but he's 19 years old and he's a freak athlete. In 2 years, he is going to be an absolute stud. This was a much better pick by Buffalo at number 16.
A really athletic specimen at that, no doubt. All right, let's get to the next slate of 4 picks here. Derwin James to the Chargers, Jair Alexander to the Packers. There's Leighton Vander Esch to the Cowboys, and Frank Ragnow to the Detroit Lions. We'll start things off with Derwin James to the Chargers. Very, very nice selection here, Tom.
A home run pick here. How is it on an A+ for you? Did you not give out an A+?
I just want to do the same thing that you did.
All right, good point. It's an A+ for me. Great value, fills the need. You do both of those things, and you get a top 10 prospect, number 17 overall. You nailed this one. Great job, Chargers. You did the right thing by not being dumb.
And you can put the nail in the coffin that Trey Boston ain't coming back. That's fair to say.
Yeah, he's not coming back.
There you go. Derwin James to the Chargers. Meanwhile, for the Packers, they traded back, and here they are at 18 with a deal that they made with the Seattle Seahawks.
I like
this
one.
Alexander.
I like Alexander a lot. I might have gone Josh Jackson or Harold Landry, but I think they got a good player in Alexander. Fits what Green Bay wants. He's a good athlete. A down year because of injuries, but he's got the ball skills you want. I think it was a nice pick.
Yeah,
Not a great pick, but a good pick.
Gave it a C+. I just didn't think they needed to address cornerback that early, maybe later in the draft because they still have a younger secondary, but I thought maybe edge rusher would have been more important there for Green Bay. Meanwhile, for Dallas, Leighton Vander Esch, linebacker out of Boise State, really good athlete, but can he really translate that onto the football field?
I hope so. The Cowboys absolutely loved him. This was my pick in my mock draft. I got this one right. Cowboys think he's Brian Urlacher 2.0. I got to see more play on the field. He's a great athlete, has all the traits you want, but he does not take on blockers very well. I don't like going linebacker in round 1. I know you want to find some help for Sean Lee and Jalen Smith, but I don't love this pick necessarily. I would have taken somebody else or traded down, maybe even a Calvin Ridley type. I have some concerns about this one. I think he'll end up being a nice player, but there's a lot of risk involved with this one, and that's what concerns me the most.
Hit us up in the reaction poll. Give us a grade about Leighton Vander Esch going to the Dallas Cowboys. A+, pretty good, okay, or just straight up boo. Would you have liked the Cowboys to have gone Calvin Ridley or something like that?
I might have preferred Calvin Ridley. I think my dream scenario was trade down, find a linebacker, find a guard, maybe even trade down, take Harold Landry. I would have liked that one, and then move back up in round 2. We'll see what Dallas does. They got some of their big needs to fill. They got their linebacker. They got the guy they wanted. I hope it works out well for them.
All right, meanwhile, for the Detroit Lions, a lot of people thought, well, could it be Darius Geis time? No, they get Frank Ragnow, center out of Arkansas.
Who I like, and it's not a reach by any means. It's just not an earth-shattering pick. I actually like James Daniels more, and most importantly, why didn't you take Harold Landry? That would have been a great pick for Detroit there. I would have gone somewhere else, but it's an okay pick there. We check off guard. I thought they could move Graham Gaskowitz to center. He's going to stay at guard. Frank Ragnow takes over that spot now.
Okay. We'll see what happens going forward on the offensive line for Detroit. Here's a rundown of the selections for the Bengals, Titans, Patriots, and Panthers. Billy Price, Rashaan Evans, Isaiah Wynn, and DJ Moore. As you also see that we will have coverage right here on Chat Sports for Day 2 of the NFL Draft, 7 o'clock Eastern Time.
We had the picks early. If you were watching with us, you had the picks before anybody else watching ESPN or NFL Network or the failing Fox Network. you should be watching on Chat Sports.
We're on Facebook Live and YouTube Live, so be sure to say hello tomorrow night. All right, let's take a look at the Cincinnati Bengals. I didn't think it was going to be Billy Price. I actually thought it was going to be James Daniels.
I thought it was going to be Frank Ragnow. When he was off the board, it should have been James Daniels. That would have been a much better pick, or Isaiah Wynn, or Will Hernandez. To take Billy Price, I don't like it. I thought there were better interior linemen on the board. C-, D+, we're in agreement there. I got a lot of texts from family and friends from Cincinnati. They're not all that impressed, unless they're an Ohio State fan. If they like Ohio State, then they're happy.
All right, so the Bengals get Billy Price there. D+ grade from me for Cincinnati. Meanwhile, you look at the Tennessee Titans now. They moved up to get this guy, Rashaan Evans, linebacker out of Alabama,
great
and
pick.
with Avery Williamson gone,
It's a great
I like
pick.
this.
It was a great pick.
Yeah.
I thought this was one of the better picks. Now, maybe they could have gone Harold Landry, but they needed a linebacker more. It's an A grade for me. Even moving up, it was worthwhile to get the last good linebacker on the board. Well done, Tennessee. This was a very, very good selection. I had him graded higher than Leighton Vander Esch.
Okay. All right. I like it. Let's go to the New England Patriots now. They got Isaiah Wynn. Good player, but at 23.
Why? You're going to make him a tackle maybe? He's got short arms. If you're going to go short arm tackle, take Connor Williams. He's way better. I just don't understand what the Patriots did this year. Isaiah Wynn was a big-time questionable selection for me. With Harold Landry on the board, Lamar Jackson there, you go with a guard. It's just, I just don't get it. Don't get it.
Not good. Not a good pick from my eyes either. All right, let's go to the Carolina Panthers. They got DJ Moore, wide receiver out of Maryland, to complement Devin Funchess there.
I like this pick. And I don't love it because I would have gone Calvin Ridley or maybe even a Harold Landry. But DJ Moore, I knew the Panthers liked. I got this one pick actually right in my mock draft. One of the few I got right in a crazy, crazy year. Yeah. Still finished in the top third nationally. So in the nation. There you go, folks.
Sup.
Yes, sup internet. There you go. I like DJ Moore. It's a solid pick, but it's not a home run. Wow, what a steal of a pick there. So I'll give it a B. So I guess that's a pretty good for me.
All right, hit us up in the reaction poll about the Carolina Panthers drafting DJ Moore there. Fantastic wide receiver out of the University of Maryland. The next slate of 4 picks here. Hayden Hurst to the Baltimore Ravens. Calvin Ridley to the Falcons. Rashad Penny to the Seattle Seahawks. And Terrell Edmonds to the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is the questionable slide of picks.
Oh, this is when the train went off the rails and I was getting angry, and have some great GIFs we can use in the future on Twitter because it just made no sense.
The Baltimore Ravens selected Hayden Hurst, tight end.
You start, Cam. You gave him an F-.
F-. I know we live in a trophy society where everybody gets, oh, yay, good job, little sticker. No stickers for the Baltimore Ravens in this first round, Tom. Hayden Hurst was an absolutely brutal selection. Yeah, maybe tight end would have been a need there. Nick Boyle can't really catch, and that's fine. This is the first round, Tom.
But good thing their track record with tight ends is so great recently.
Oh, yeah, Crockett Gilmore and Supernaw and all these
Max
players
Williams.
that never panned out. Absolutely brutal.
I hate it, too.
Yeah.
I had a third-round grade in Hayden Hurst. He's a 25-year-old tight end that's raw, athletic, but can't block. You're taking a project who's 25. I just don't see it with Hayden Hurst. Hopefully I'm wrong. I really do hope that I am.
Excuse me as I go to Yak City about the Ravens. All right, Atlanta Falcons, Tom, a roster that was really solid, and they get a really nice wide receiver in Calvin Ridley, good value at 26.
Oh, this is a great pick. I think this is a home run pick by the Falcons. They got the best wide receiver in the draft at number 26. Sometimes winning in the NFL draft is just about being patient and letting other teams do stupid things in front of you, and that's what Atlanta did. Great job by the Falcons.
Hey, speaking of stupid, Seattle Seahawks, Rashad Penny. It's like, Seattle, what are you doing?
You know, Seattle said they would have taken him at number 18. Why would you do that? Why would you possibly do that? He was the number 6 halfback for me, and there was a drop-off between number 4 and 5 and number 6. If you're going to go halfback, take Darius Geis. That's actually a fine pick. Rashad Penny is going to be a very good NFL halfback. But you can find very good in the NFL draft at halfback in round 3, in round 4. Don't spend a premium pick when you got a whole bunch of other needs and great players on the board to take them. This was one of the worst picks in the NFL draft, and at the time, it was the worst draft pick.
And then this happened. Terrell Edmonds going to the Pittsburgh Steelers, safety.
A good athlete. Like, that's what you got. Honestly, I am not convinced that Pittsburgh didn't think they were taking Tremaine Edmonds. I am not convinced they got confused and thought that Tremaine was on the board, because that would have made a ton of sense for Pittsburgh. Going with another strong safety doesn't make any sense. This was the worst pick in the first round. He is a day 2 at best player. He was a top 100 guy for me, not a guy you take in the top 30.
Yeah.
A terrible pick by Pittsburgh. I don't understand it at all. Maybe they bulk him up and make him into a linebacker. Maybe that makes sense. But this was a bad pick by Pittsburgh. Just horrendous.
It looks like they valued Edmonds over Justin Reed and Ronnie Harrison.
If you want a safety, go get a free safety, not a box guy.
Yep.
I know he's a great athlete, but he can't cover yet. He's so raw.
All right.
Pittsburgh.
The next 4 picks here, the final 4 in the first round. Taven Bryan to the Jags. Mike Hughes to the Vikings, like that pick a lot. Sony Michel to the Patriots. And then Lamar Jackson to the Baltimore Ravens. Hey, how about this? Joseph in the comments section. Sorry for calling you guys dumb 2 days ago.
I don't know which part it was about, why he called us dumb. I don't remember what it was. I would assume it was because he didn't like our mock draft picks, and then he saw the actual ones, and he goes, oh, maybe not so much. I would just assume that one.
It's all relative, Joseph.
It's all good, Joseph. No problem, man.
Thanks for tuning in.
No problem. I appreciate the apology, but it's all good.
Meanwhile, for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Taven Bryan, they could have just traded back, honestly, but it's okay.
This is a replacement pick. They cannot afford Malik Jackson. They cannot afford Taven Bryan or Marcel Darius long term. There's your replacement down the road. It's okay. It's nothing special.
All right, Jacksonville Jaguars go with Taven Bryan out of Florida there. Meanwhile, the Minnesota Vikings got Mike Hughes, cornerback out of UCF.
I don't.
Find it kind of strange that he went before Josh Jackson went, but still.
I think they're speed concerned with Josh Jackson, but it's not like Mike Hughes is a burner either, based on what his 40-yard dash was. I see an undersized corner who plays bigger than he is. I just don't think it's going to be the best option for Minnesota. I would have gone a guard or even a DT, but Hughes is an okay pick. I'll give it a C. It's not a terrible pick based on Terrell Edmonds and the like, but it's not a great one either.
All right, New England Patriots, Sony Michel, Tom.
You were. I was nicer to the Patriots than you were.
You got a crowded backfield with James White, Rex Burkhead, Jeremy Hill. You could have looked at other areas of the team.
The Patriots twice passed on Harold Landry, Lamar Jackson, and a bunch of other great players. I said it on our live show. I'll say it again. I love Bill Belichick. He is the greatest NFL coach of all time. His recent draft classes do not make sense to me. They've had some nice 4th and 5th round picks, but they have not done a good job in the early rounds. They make a lot of head-scratching moves. Add 2 more. There were their biggest needs. Maybe a check-off OT for Isaiah Wynn. They didn't do it. I am not a fan of what Patriots did. I thought they had one of the worst drafts. They got some more second-round picks. They can redeem themselves, but I just don't get it. I am not a fan of what Bill Belichick has done this year. Maybe I'm wrong. It's Belichick, but I hate it.
So I guess the Baltimore Ravens were caught by surprise that Lamar Jackson went past the Patriots. They traded up, and they took Lamar at number 32. C-.
That's great.
C-.
Cam. Joe Flacco's not the answer, baby.
The only silver lining to this is maybe Joe Flacco gets a little fire under his butt and gets a little motivated to perform.
No, man. Lamar Jackson's the future of Baltimore. Now, I have some doubts about his fit. I would have preferred the Patriots, and fit does matter in the NFL. But I love me some Lamar Jackson. You give him a year to grow. He can learn behind Joe Flacco for a little bit, work on some accuracy. The upside's there. Closest thing we've seen to Mike Vick now in Baltimore.
Second round coverage here on Chat Sports tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Eastern Time.
2 for the Browns.
On Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Yeah, here are the second round selections.
Connor Williams, number 33 overall, and you nailed it.
Boom. Got Cleveland at 35 as well. You got the Giants at 34,
Harold
Colts
Landry
at 36. And then you got Colts at 37, Bucks at 38, Bears at 39, Broncos at 40.
You're going to see a lot of trades there. There are going to be a lot of movement going up to get guys like Landry, Geis, and others.
Mm-hmm. And then Raiders at 41, Dolphins at 42. Then the Patriots, the Washington Redskins check in at 44. Then you got the Green Bay Packers at 45, Bengals, Cardinals, and Chargers all there as well. Back to the Cowboys after the Colts. What do you think the Cowboys do at 50?
I don't know if they're going to keep it.
Okay.
I think they could trade up for a wide receiver or an offensive guard. Or maybe, just maybe, it's Earl Thomas. A lot of buzz about it. We'll see.
Serious
we'll
buzz.
See.
Lions and then Eagles to round out that order. And then the Bucs, Chiefs, Panthers, and then the Bucs again at 56.
2 picks there.
Tennessee Titans at 57. Then you got the Falcons, the 49ers, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then the Jaguars, Vikings, and Patriots. Then you got the Cleveland Browns yet again.
They got a lot of picks. They're going to have some more fun tomorrow.
All right, so that's a rundown there of the second round selections. And once again, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Eastern time, right here in Chat Sports, you can get the coverage. All right, Tom, best available. Here's a look at your big board. Harold Landry is still there.
I don't get it. There's something wrong with Harold Landry. Maybe it's a medical issue, but he should not be on the board. This is a mistake by NFL teams, but I assume there's something that we don't know.
It has to be that.
It has to be. It's the only thing that makes sense. Guys, I think there's some off-the-field worries. Hurst, there's the heart condition. Josh Jackson, I think it's speed concerns are the concern for Josh Jackson. But I think all those guys, maybe not Hurst, and maybe not Landry if there's actual medical concerns, but those guys should go early. Those first 3 guys all had actual first-round grades for me. Josh Jackson was a round 1, round 2 guy. I only had like 16 first-round grades this year. Crop wasn't that great this year at the top.
I will say this. Whoever gets Josh Jackson will be pretty darn good value added.
Great ball skills. Those are the picks that you hope for at the beginning of round 2, a guy that slides to you and you nail the pick. Mm-hmm. I'm excited to see what happens there.
All right, some of the best available options there on your big board here, Tom. And, of course, we update this in real time throughout our coverage as well. So tomorrow we'll be updating it live for you guys, and we'll be showcasing Tom's rankings. When does Connor Williams go? Maybe Orlando Brown even.
I don't know when Brown goes. He's got a terrible combine, not a good athlete. Connor Williams, I know, has fallen because some teams view him as a tackle, some as a guard because he's got undersized arms, had an injury-plagued year at Texas. But when he was healthy in 2016, he was the best tackle in college football. I think he can be a left tackle in the NFL. If you still want one, go get Connor Williams. I know he's got the short arms. That's a concern. But I think the upside is there. It's worth a pick at the beginning of round 2. I didn't think he was going to go on round 1. Someone needs to take him very soon, though. He's
there
too
you see Will Hernandez, too.
A lot of linemen. Hernandez and Daniels. Yeah. I didn't have Daniels going to round 1. I thought Hernandez would. I'm surprised he's not there. If you're the Cowboys, all 3 of those guys, I think you are considering moving up for, along with maybe Austin Corbett from Nevada, who we'll mention on tomorrow's program. Don't you worry.
If I told you Ragnow and Billy Price would have gone before James Daniels, what would you have said?
I wouldn't. I had that actually going. I didn't have Daniels in round 1. I had Ragnow going. I thought it was going to be to the Bengals when the Lions took Ragnow. I thought for sure it was going to be Daniels. I was surprised that they didn't go him. I'm surprised he didn't go in round 1. Maybe there's some size concerns there, but he's a good athlete. I like what I saw on film. I'm kind of surprised.
All right, James Daniels there at number 8 on Downey's big board. Best available players for the 2018 NFL Draft. Set that bookmark, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Facebook Live, YouTube Live tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Eastern Time, the second round of the NFL Draft. All right, so Justin Reed, Courtland Sutton, maybe Hubbard, edge out of Ohio State. You got Harrison Phillips as well, some names to monitor.
Imagine taking Terrell Edmonds over Justin Reed. Go figure, right? And Ronnie Harrison. Didn't make any sense. I'm not surprised these guys didn't go in round 1. Only 2 edge rushers. That's a stunner for me. I mean, I have never seen only 2 edge rushers go when you got Harold Landry, even Josh Sweat up there as well. That was a surprise to me. I like Hubbard. Comped out a lot athletically like Joey Bosa, though he's not quite the same player. Harrison Phillips is a bowling ball guard. I'm excited to see what ends up happening there. Sutton, I think, will end up going in the early parts of round 1. He's a very talented player. He'll do well.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, time for you guys to weigh in the biggest winner of the first round. Where are you going? You going Titans? You going Cardinals? Maybe Colts? Maybe the Atlanta Falcons, Tom. What stands out for you?
A lot of good options there. I think I actually might go with the Indianapolis Colts. You got my number 1 player, and you got a bunch of picks. I'll factor in the Jets trade, too. How about that one? You got extra second-round picks next year. You still got the best player in the draft at a big position of need. I had a very poor outlook of the Colts in the offseason with their free agency moves, but I said at the time, they're going to be winners in the draft, and so far, they definitely are. Good job by Indianapolis.
So far, so good. I would be hard-pressed to go against the Titans as well. Really got a nice linebacker there.
A lot of winners, but some big-time losers as well. You know, I think the Steelers had a rough draft. I like what the Cardinals did, too. I like getting Josh Rosen. If the Ravens had just taken Lamar Jackson, not Hayden Hurst, I would have put them as a winner cam, but they took Hayden Hurst. So I'm sorry, buddy. There's room on the Cowboys bandwagon if you want to join that if you're in Dallas.
Day 2 coverage tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Eastern Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitch. I am Cam Rogers. That guy right there is Tom Downey. We'll see you tomorrow night.